space and a portal anomaly in your area. If the space around you starts shifting in strange ways, you may have entered its field and could be pulled into a pocket dimension we call the non-existence memory.
It's obviously some kind of production, but it's pretty good.
This place was never meant for living.
It's meant to be some kind of creepy thing.
It's highly unstable and extremely dangerous to humans. This environment manipulates neural pathways, trapping subjects in recursive loops of simulated memories. To reduce your risk, only move when the lights are on. If the lights go out, freeze. Stay perfectly still. Your presence may go unnoticed. Search for an exit. But remember, the doors here never lead to the same place twice. Do not move in the dark, no matter what you hear. Wait for further instructions. We are receiving reports of an attack and a portal on
Classified CIA document from the 1980s has been uncovered, and it reveals a mind-bending truth. The world around you is an illusion created by your own mind, that there are alternate dimensions waiting for you to access them, and ultimately this information shows you are God. Sound crazy? I've devoted my life to studying consciousness and hidden information, and this is one of the most incredible declassified documents I've ever encountered. The shocking information within reveals a method for accessing other realities and a way to tap into the power of your own consciousness to transcend the limitations of time and space. This is not science fiction. This is a real document, and the secrets it holds are waiting for you to uncover. Classified CIA document from the 1980s has been uncovered, and it reveals a mind-bending
What if the entire reason they faked the moon landing and moon takeoff was simply to show you a picture?
99, proceeded, 3, 2, 1, ignition. Right away, Houston. Vector grid. X5.
Like I said, what if the entire fake mission was simply to be able to show you this picture? This picture of them supposedly looking at the Earth from the moon. A picture to further prove to you that where you live is a spinning ball out in the blackness of space. A picture that up close, while fuzzy, looks strange. Almost like there's a little dog nose and little doggy mouth there and a dog eye, and this whole area looks like a dog, but it's a strange thing for the Earth to look like. And there have been people who have looked closer at those pictures and seen that it looks like it might be photoshopped.
This is live on the air, okay? I'm going to zoom in on the Earth in Photoshop. You see the Earth? To image, adjust, levels, and I'm going to bring the levels over here. And I'm going to bring the levels up. Uh-oh. What is that? Why is there a square box around the Earth allegedly taken from the scientists on the moon in Apollo 17?
And what if they knew if their fake moon launches and takeoffs and fake first ever spacewalks were starting to look really cheesy and bad? So they had to figure out a way to put an end to them. So they decided to load a bunch of astronauts onto a rocket and send it up. Very public display. But that rocket never made it up. It had an issue. An issue that might scare future space travel. And these poor astronauts were never seen again. Or were they? Everyone, minus one, has been found to either have an identical twin that all of a sudden popped up years later, or just with the same name as a professor at the University of Wisconsin. But how could they do that? How could they fake that? Well,
once the crew are on board, if it looks as if they're in danger, they get out and head down this tube, specially insulated against fire, and zigzagging down not to some point out and away from the rocket, but to an escape room exactly where you'd think it shouldn't be.
Three and a half minutes after they get the warning in the capsule, the crew could be down here in the blast escape room via that 200-foot escape tube.
you see, the way I see it, there are three camps of people. There are people that think we landed here. There are people that think we didn't land there and they faked it for whatever reason. And there are people who know we didn't land there because you can't land there. And they only decided to show you that they could, to show you that, to propagate the fact that you were spinning on a ball in endless space and that you evolved from a chimpanzee. Well, none of it's true. And in fact, have you really paid attention to the space launches of today? I did this video 2 years ago, to the date, in fact, of the India space launch. It was my first ever viral video. Have a look.
All right, this happened today. This is the India launch, supposedly to the moon. And I want you to watch this. It is going up, and it's going up, and it's going up, and then it's going to start to make this curve. Okay, this is still up, and it's going to start to make this curve, and then they're going to switch views, because that's what they need to do, switch views, and then they're going to switch views again, because look, this is still up, and this is going to continue to curve towards the ground, because it's not going to the moon. It's not going into space. It's going up and into the ocean. Okay, look at this. That is clearly going down. It's going down. And then when it gets to the point it can't go down anymore, or you're going to really realize it's going down, they switch to nothing but CGI for the rest of the time until they get to the moon. And even when they land on the moon, look, CGI.
Yeah, but of course, all this is for entertainment purposes. I know this is a real picture, and that's a real crater, and that's a real Earth. I mean, so what? There are like 5 different dog faces and weird little demon faces in there. They wouldn't purposely put those in.
Yeah, right.
To mock you. Just like the planet Pluto. They would never put Pluto in Pluto to make you look like a foolo. And if you don't believe this, you should go watch the documentary Level with Me on YouTube. And even though I'm not a fan of the creator of that whole thing, there's some pretty interesting truths about this.
There's a lot of crazy conspiracies all behind all of this.
On that ball,
It can go on for a while. This one is. Yeah, that looks really good. I wish it looked like that at night. Wow. Pretty cool. Ew, this is gay. That's how I'd be like, ew. Man, that shit looks creepy. AI is getting pretty good. Imagine what we're gonna have in a few years.
Investigation and information on that. The FBI has been following for 3 days Here on 7 Action News, is a Detroit business buying and selling human body parts illegally? And what was inside the business? It may shock you. 7 Action News investigator Jim Kirchner is live.
This is McDonald's.
And Jim, is this part of that investigation? Is that winding down at all yet?
It is indeed, Jeff. Take a live look behind.
I want you to know about this one. It's still going.
There's a theory that the Washington Monument isn't empty.
Let's see what's happening.
Investigation and information on that.
Nah, it's probably just a troll video. Nothing happens.
Investigation and information on.
There's a theory that the
So they're probably
Monument is empty,
probably
that
cap.
it's hiding a tree that opens portal. In this theory, the Washington Monument is not just a tall stone pillar.
I think I heard
It's
this one already.
A containment unit specifically designed to trap a massive otherworldly tree inside. And this isn't your typical backyard oak tree. This is supposedly something growing between dimensions, feeding off energy, and holding the power to rewrite reality. It's been blamed for everything from people disappearing to massive timeline shifts, stuff the government tries to erase or cover up. If you think about it, trees show up in almost every religion as a symbol of life, death, rebirth, and even time travel. Like, think about the Bodhi tree or the tree of life. This theory connects those myths to modern.
We can just knock it over and see what's under it.
Saying that ancient power never disappeared.
It is pretty interesting, though. It's probably just a really cool symbol, though.
So it could be 1727 now?
It just could be. What if nearly 300
Could be,
years
why
of
not,
history
right?
never happened? Stay with me. In 1991, a German historian named Hermann Illig proposed something that shakes the very foundation of time itself, the phantom time hypothesis. His claim? The years 614 to 911 AD were completely fabricated. They don't exist. They were inserted into history, and we've been living in a false timeline ever since. Now, who would do this, and why? Enter Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII. Three powerful figures who supposedly conspired to alter historical records and manipulate the calendar. Why? Because Otto III wanted to rule in the symbolic year 1000 AD, a number that carries power, prophecy, and legitimacy. But instead of waiting, they fast-forwarded history itself.
Yes, I'll make it at that year 1000 today.
From this missing period, sure.
I'm gonna do it.
But where are the artifacts, the architecture, the undeniable physical proof? You'd expect.
Do what I want to do.
This is an official NASA video of nightlife on Mars.
Yeah, we just saw this one, right?
This. Do you guys buy? Why aren't the stars twinkling? When you go outside and you look at the stars, they twinkle in the night sky. They are completely. Look at it. Look at that right there. They couldn't even put the effort in to make them twinkle and shimmer. This is obvious. Like, who's buying this? Like, put in the comments if you think that this is real.
Isn't it like a still photo though?
The stars are not twinkling at. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. It's getting fun.
It's probably a still photo.
When television
Is fake as Santa Claus?
and folks were still using rotary fucking phones. And most new cars sold in the United States didn't even have power windows or fucking air conditioning. And we just strapped two cowboys into what was essentially a fucking Coke can with a Chevy.
That's what it is, Space Cowboys. You don't believe it?
And just launched them motherfuckers out into orbit on nothing more than a hope and a fucking dream. And somehow managed to land that glorified bottle rocket safely on an uncharted lunar surface.
Yep.
And then got out and played hopscotch for a few hours. And then they got right back inside that motherfucker. And then somehow managed to launch themselves.
Yep, came right back home.
And then a few short weeks later, they landed.
And left the camera guy on the moon.
You really fucking believe that happened? God damn, you're a gullible son of a bitch. I bet you still believe in fucking Santa Claus, you goofy bastard. You believe.
There's a theory that the Hoover Dam is secretly a demonic throne and that the government put angels there to cover it up. You go to the Hoover Dam, you're gonna see something really odd. There's a spot that has two giant winged statues made out of bronze. They look like angels, right? They are technically called the winged figures of the Republic, but this is the weird part. No one officially says what they are. They're not angels, they're not demons, they're figures. And that's not random.
AI robots
Floor underneath them that is a
from the
cosmic
past.
map. Shows the exact alignment of the stars the day that the dam was completed. Like they wanted like aliens or gods to find this later. You'd think it's just some like artsy little design, right? But the guy who made that design said that this is specifically supposed to last for thousands of years. Like that design was supposed to outlive our civilization. And this is where it gets a little darker. People also call this place the throne of the devil. But why would a dam need a cosmic star map and then two 20, 30-foot bronze guardians? And then all of these like occult
It's called decor.
Symbols. Well, get this. So over 100 workers died while building the dam. And some people do believe that their bodies were sealed into the concrete and that they were considered to be sacrifices to bless the sculpture. And then on top of all of this, the location of these statues don't really make any sense. Like, why would they have these big designs at a power plant? And if you're religious, you also have to remember Satan was originally an angel. Another crazy thing to note is that the Hoover Dam has been featured in dozens of end-of-the-world movies, disaster scenes, and games. It has always been the center.
What if I told you that I know exactly what the Grand Canyon is? Would you believe me? And I know exactly why it looks like petrified flesh and has all the signs of petrified living tissue. And then I showed you what the veins of a bat's wing looks like and what the Grand Canyon looks like. And then I remind you, or tell you for the very first time, if you haven't seen my dragon video, what I found.
A dragon's wing? My ass.
Look at this outlined in red wing, torso, and head, even down to its molars and jagged teeth.
No, I'm not going to go with that one.
7 signs of a stupid person and how to avoid becoming one.
This is good.
Intelligence isn't just about knowledge, it's about
Everyone needs to know this.
Awareness and the way you treat others. What we often call stupidity isn't a lack of brain power, but a lack of wisdom and humility. If you want to grow, avoid these common traps. 1. They think they know everything. A stupid person stops learning. A wise one knows there's always more to discover.
I like the way they say that.
They never listen. Instead of hearing others out, they interrupt, argue, and close their minds. Real strength is being open to new perspectives. 3. They blame everyone but themselves. Nothing is ever their fault. Growth starts when you take responsibility for your actions. 4. They repeat the same mistakes. Falling down isn't stupidity, refusing to learn from it is. Each mistake is a lesson if you're willing to see it. 5. They put others down to feel big. Mocking or belittling people doesn't show strength. It shows weakness. Smart people lift others up. 6.
Oh,
They
common
avoid
sense
effort.
things right here.
Looking for shortcuts and refusing hard work leads nowhere.
Just don't be a dick.
Success is built on persistence, not laziness. 7. They refuse change. The world evolves, but a stupid mindset clings to the past out of fear. Wisdom is the ability to adapt and grow.
The song Timmy Turner Backwards has to be one of the scariest videos on the internet. Cause back in like 2016, we was all watching that shaking in our boots scared. Yes, we! Bro, you play that song backwards, it sounds like you spawning Satan himself. I couldn't sleep for like 3 days straight after I searched up Timmy Turner Backwards. Had me
I don't know what this is.
Now I thought every song was demonic. I even searched up Beyonce Backwards too, that mess.
I don't know. Like,
Ronald McDonald, not the one you remember from
there's like a Joker.
The smell of red paint, the silence of 12 missing children. In 1892, a driven Ronald McDonald toured county fairs across the Midwest. Bright red coat, yellow waistcoat, white gloves to the elbows, a painted smile so wide it cut into his cheeks. He called his tent the Happy Meal. Admission was free. Inside, the light was dim. The air smelled of sweet bread and varnish. Each child got a small paper box, red, with a yellow emblem brushed on the side. Inside, a soft bun, a slice of cold meat, a hand-carved wooden toy, and a card. Eat up.
No, thank
you. If space is fake, why do we see other planets through telescopes? Sounds like checkmate, right? But hold on, let's actually think about this for a second. What are we really seeing when we look through a telescope? Are we seeing solid physical worlds millions of miles away? Or are we seeing something completely different?
And how is Star Trek, bro?
Something we've been told to interpret in a very specific way. Since childhood, we've been programmed by NASA. So when we finally look into a telescope and see a glowing, shimmering ball of light, our brain instantly says, yep, that's a planet, just like the pictures. But is it really? Because if you've ever actually looked at these so-called planets through an amateur telescope, they don't look anything like the polished NASA images. They flicker, they ripple, they dance with color, almost like lights underwater. That alone should make you pause. What if planets aren't what we've been taught? What if they're not giant rock worlds floating millions of miles away, but luminous bodies, moving lights in the sky, part of the same system as our sun and moon? Ancient cultures didn't call them planets, they called them wandering stars. And that's exactly how they look, stars that move differently. Think about it. If the Earth is flat and stationary, then telescopes aren't windows into outer space. They're magnifying glasses bringing closer the lights above us. And when we zoom in, the stars and planets don't appear as solid spheres. They look alive, electric, almost like energy in motion. Some even pulse with geometric patterns. Doesn't that sound more like a light than a distant world? Take Jupiter, for example. Through a small backyard telescope, it doesn't look like the swirling CGI storm planet you've seen in textbooks. It looks more like a glowing orb that shifts and changes with the atmosphere. Saturn? Those famous rings don't appear crisp and sharp unless you're looking at NASA's computer renderings. In real life, it's fuzzy, wavy, sometimes barely there. Doesn't that make you wonder if those rings are really physical at all, or if we've just been conditioned to believe in a Hollywood version of space? And let's ask the real question. If space is truly endless with billions of galaxies, why do we only ever see the same handful of planets clearly? Why are the rest conveniently unreachable and always shown through artists' impressions or digital renderings? Could it be because what we're actually seeing through telescopes is not outer space at all, but a local contained system, lights moving in a dome-like sky? Now, this doesn't mean telescopes are fake. They work. They magnify what's already above us. But the interpretation that we're seeing faraway globes in a vacuum is the part that deserves questioning. Because when you strip away the NASA animations and the glossy documentaries, what we're left with looks nothing like what we've been told. So here's the takeaway. Telescopes don't prove the globe. If anything, they expose the mystery of the sky. They show us that the planets look more like energetic lights, wandering stars, than distant worlds. And if that's true, then everything we've been taught about space deserves a second look. If you found this eye-opening, don't stop here. There are so many more secrets about the sky, flight paths.
Because you know how I figured it out? What's 1 times 1? 1 times 1 is 1.
To multiply means to do what? To make more, right?
Yes.
Increase in number?
Yes.
Multiply?
Yes.
How can 1 times 1 equaling 1 be part of the multiplication table? It fails to satisfy the term multiply. It doesn't multiply. Does it? What's an action times an action?
You got some weed.
No, I'm asking you. Honestly, I'm asking you. Reason.
What are we doing
Reason. I want you to reason.
I don't know.
What's an action times an action? A reaction. Right?
Okay.
Have you ever seen an action times an action without a reaction? Have you? No. Because equanimity is the currency of the universe. There's
Stretch
always
Armstrong
an
over
action
here.
An action having a reaction. So how can 1 times 1 equal 1? How can A times B just be A and not B? What happened to consequence?
Terrence, these are late night conversations.
This is the beginning of our understanding. It should fit. What kind of calculator you got? What kind of phone you got?
iPhone?
Okay, go to your calculator.
Whatever the new one.
No, go to your calculator. Go to your calculator.
All right.
Go to your calculator.
Yeah, I got
you. Do too. You got iPhone?
What are we doing?
I want both of y'all to do 2 separate things. I want to do the same thing to start with. Turn it to the side.
Okay.
All right, now I want you to both hit the number 2. Did the whole calculator show up?
Hit number what?
Hit the number 2.
Number 2.
Go to the square root. It is the second column from the left, 3rd row. It'll have that squiggly thing.
All right.
1.4. 1.414213563373095.
Holy.
I want you two to do 2 separate things now. 2 separate things. I want you to multiply it by 2, hit times 2, equal, don't you do it.
Okay.
And I want you to hit x to the 3rd. X to the 3rd, it's going to be...
Times 3?
No, x to the 3rd.
Oh, X. Oh, okay, I see it.
X to the 3rd.
Yeah, I got you. All right, 1.1.
No, you didn't hit x to the 3rd.
Yes, I did.
If you hit x to the 3rd.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
So go back again.
Okay,
you
so
keep
now
yours where you are.
Yeah, I'm
2,
good.
2.
Square root. And hit x to the 3rd.
All right, 2.82.
2.828, 4271, 2174, 6190. The same value you got.
Yeah.
By multiplying it by 2.
Yeah.
And he just cubed it. Divide it by 2 again. Both of y'all. Divide
it by 2.
No, divide by 2. Hit equal.
It's like a magic trick or something. Boring.
Here's some leaked Apollo 11 footage that was never meant to be seen by the general public.
There you
This footage
go.
is supposedly evidence that astronauts Michael Collins, Buzz Aldrin, and Neil Armstrong faked footage of the Earth while on their space shuttle journey to the moon. Now, in this first piece of footage, you can clearly hear the astronauts speaking with Houston. However, there's a third party that all of a sudden adds to the conversation.
The TV looks great. Over. Okay, Roger. We're nothing in on Earth.
Now, there is plenty of footage of this in the original video. However, there was only 20 seconds that was released to the general public as live. Now, if this was supposedly broadcast live, why is Armstrong in this next clip talking about playback?
Yeah, we just wanted a narrative such that we can, when we get to playback, we can sort of correlate what we're saying. Thank you very much.
So what this video is insinuating is that the astronauts used a bit of camera trickery where they would hold the video camera further and further away from the window, making it seem that the Earth was moving further and further away from them, when in fact they were much closer and just recorded the Earth from a circular window, stepping back, making it seem like it was further away. And hold on, because I'm saving the best for last. Here, Aldrin is talking about how they blocked out the windows so that the sun wouldn't shine on the inside walls.
Good. Well, we shut out the sun coming in some of the other windows into the spacecraft, so the number 1 window, and there isn't any reflected light.
Here you can clearly see how far they are from the window as something seems to enter the frame, maybe an astronaut's elbow, who knows. And then here is the main event. So you can clearly see the tiny Earth in the window, you can see a little work light here, and then the lights come up. And look how bright the Earth is if it's that far away. So both of the slates for this footage were dated the 19th and 20th of July. But how can that be when the 20th was supposedly when they landed on the moon? Based on their location from the footage they took on the 19th, the moon would still be 3 days away. So how are they then walking on the moon just 1 day later? Here's some leaked Apollo 11 footage that was never meant to be seen by the general public.
It's crazy there at the end.
Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no.
No, no, no.
What have you done? That's not the mud flood. That's Doodle, the great horse.
That's doo-doo.
Of 1894. Oh, you son of a bitch. In the 18 last reset, major cities faced a monumental challenge: how to dispose of all the waste. Over 150 horses generated between 15 and 30 gallons of doodle a day, and added to the mess was 40.
What? AI generated a picture of doo-doo?
These man was uncivilized. They didn't know what to do, and in the summertime, when it was dry, the manure would turn into dust and go inside your mouth and stick on your lungs.
And you eat it.
Doodle soup. Oh, you son of a bitch. And this is how you know that these men with the horse and wagon did not build these buildings, and this ain't their civilization. Because what was they doing with the manure before? A lesson from the great horse manure crisis of 1894. Now this was the general belief of the people at the time. In 50 years, every street in London will be buried under 9 feet of doodle. Imagine what the streets look like after the last reset.
Doo-doo.
It must have looked disgusting. Oh no.
Why barely anyone in America gets a trial? Because the system punishes you if you ask for one. Here's how it works. Let's say you're charged with a crime. The prosecutor says, take a deal now, or we'll stack charges and go for the maximum punishment. Scared yet? That's the point. Over 98% of criminal cases in the U.S. are resolved through plea bargains, not trials. That's not justice, that's coercion. And if you dare to go to trial, your sentence could be 50% longer just for fighting the charge. And that's called the trial penalty. Also, if you're locked up waiting for trial, your chances of pleading guilty skyrocket. Not because you're guilty, because you're tired, broke, and want out. People plead guilty to things they didn't even do every day, just to avoid worse time. The system doesn't want justice, it wants quick wins and conviction rates. If you thought justice meant trials and truth, you've been lied to. Follow for part 4.
Yeah, it's a business. It's a good business, right?
I get it now. As above, so below. We're fish in the ocean. Watch. Fish in the ocean, breathe water. We breathe water. The fish in the ocean don't know they're breathing water. We don't know we're breathing water. When the fish at the bottom of the ocean, the ones that can't even really swim up that high, look up and see.
I want to get weed with this guy.
It looks like the stars in the night sky because they can't see. They can't see the sun like that. It's just
Probably some
what light
good
comes
shit.
through. We see what light comes through. We're on the bottom of an ocean. There's more denser bodies of water.
But we can't swim though.
And there's other animals at the bottom of that ocean. We're just walking around on the bottom of our ocean because we don't have the fins to swim through the air like the birds do. Swim through the water. And then there's other whatever swims up higher above us. Does that make sense? And like, you know when you go in a deep pool, the pressure hurts your ears? Well, when we go deeper in water, we can't even bear those pressures. Same when we go up, we can't bear the pressures. Well, those beings up above us can't really bear the pressures. We might integrate a little bit and be able to like have minimal contact in a space where like
Air pressure though. That's the pressure you're talking about. Air pressure.
We'll never be able to. We might be able to ascend higher into those.
Because the deeper you go in the water,
So low, at the bottom of
less
our
air
ocean.
pressure.
For millions of years, we came up out
Air.
of that ocean and into.
Cat.
Don't you find it interesting that we were never taught about this old Tartarian technology, yet they still subliminally told us in movies like Men in Black?
In South Park. In South Park. Remember South Park? Remember they talked about this in South Park?
Vehicles found all over the world, and somehow.
Remember how they did this in South Park?
It was suppressed from us. They don't want us to know about our real history. Obviously, they want you thinking that these people were primitive, and that we're the most advanced civilization to ever walk this earth. And that is far from the truth. These people weren't working for paper money to pay bills and all this stuff. They were working in unity to build a beautiful civilization running on free energy. And we have the same technology now, but it's intentionally hidden from us, suppressed from the masses to further the parasites' agenda. But all you need to do is open up your eyes and see, because the evidence is all around you. It's very obvious. And the truth that everything is found within us all. Peace and love. Don't you find it interesting that we were...
But it's hard to see.
I am a student at the Monroe Institute in Virginia, where we study human consciousness, dimensional reality, focus levels, levels of awareness. I want to help you understand this so that you can attract or grow into your dream life of what you want. This is the clearest, cleanest path there, the only path there. You have to understand.
If you ate no food for 5 days, would you starve to death? Wrong. Your body doesn't crash, it heals. Day 1, glycogen's gone, that's sugar plus water weight. You drop pounds fast, insulin falls, and the fat-burning switch flips on. Day 2, boom, ketosis kicks in. Brain power goes up, hunger goes down. Your cells start cleaning house. It's called autophagy, recycling junk into fuel. Day 3, deep ketosis. Your mood? Euphoric. Your brain? Laser sharp. BDNF spikes. That means new brain cell growth. And your immune system hits reset. Day 4, fat burning maxed out. Hunger? Gone. Autophagy keeps cleaning. Pre-cancer cells, damaged tissue, even inflammation. Day 5, the magic moment. Time to refeed carefully. Bone broth, eggs, clean foods. Your body rebuilds stronger. Skin, joints, brain, all upgraded. So fasting isn't starvation, it's evolution. Skip the snacks and unlock the healing.
Yeah, but then donuts.
The people you see in these videos were not the creators of the grand cities behind them. They were merely the founders of a new era, inheriting something far older and more advanced than we've been led to believe. Look at the scale of the architecture, the intricate details, and the sheer magnitude of these buildings. Do you really think these people with their horse-drawn carriages and primitive tools built these massive structures in a single generation? These cities were remnants of a lost civilization, one that understood energy architecture and technology in ways we can barely comprehend today. Grand domes, towering spires, and intricate facades weren't just aesthetic marvels.
What if I told you that Einstein's E equals mc squared is wrong and that I can prove it with math that's 4,000 years old? The ancient Mesopotamians knew something about atomic physics that we are just now rediscovering, and they encoded it into their mathematical measurement system, the qubit. This is the real energy equation, not E equals mc squared. Let me blow your mind. Element 144 and element 233 are not random. They're the 12th and 13th Fibonacci numbers. And when you combine them with the golden ratio, 1.618, you get perfect atomic harmony. Element 144, stable noble gas. Element 233, room temperature superconductor with controllable density. Here's where it gets insane. Victor Schauberger discovered that nature works through implosion, not explosion. His mathematics on vortexes combined with Fibonacci spiral? What this means is unlimited clean energy from quantum vacuums, anti-gravity propulsion, yes, flying cars, room temperature superconductors for loss-free power, interstellar travel within our lifetime. It also includes matter transmutation, turning lead into gold. The German GSI facility could do this right now. All the technology exists, but why aren't they? Because this would end the fossil fuel industry overnight. Yeah, Big Energy doesn't want you to know that the unlimited power can come from a chamber the size of your living room using 4,000-year-old mathematics. We need to make this go viral. So share this video, tag GSI Helmholtz, maybe even tag Elon Musk, everyone. I've already written the scientific papers. The math is perfect. The ancient qubit plus Fibonacci plus the golden ratio plus in vortexes, implosion vortexes equals unlimited energy. But they won't listen to one guy. They will listen to millions. Comment Fibonacci energy if you want me to explain the full mathematical proofs. Follow for more ancient secrets that could change everything. The future of humanity is in a 4,000-year-old measurement. Who's ready to change the world? And if this blew your mind, like and follow for more mind-blowing content. What if I told you that Einstein's E equals mc squared is wrong and that I can prove it with math that's 4,000 years old? The ancient Mesopotamians knew.
The people you see in these videos were not the creators.
What if I told you that Einstein's E equals mc squared is wrong and that I can prove it with math?
They poison your water to calcify your pineal gland, and your pineal gland is the radio antenna which connects the body to the mind. No, the mind is not.
That one seemed pretty interesting. I want to try to follow up more and more information on that.
Simply the world inside the mind. You see, the mind is the bridge between the physical man and the spiritual man. The screen you use in your mind to imagine a red apple is the same dimension that feeds the physical world. Look at everything around you. Everything was imagined in the astral, the spiritual plane, then brought into physical existence.
This is Epstein for Dummies.
The reason why the Epstein list will not come out, like I've said from the beginning, is because it is an intelligence operation. The best form of currency right now for control and power in our world is videos or pictures of children being abused by certain adults. When
It's
you
just
have
horrible.
those as leverage,
but
you can control
you know that's
a
just
person
never
to
coming
make
out.
decisions that will shape nations. The
You
moment
got-
you prosecute,
you
a
gotta
pedophile
drag 'em
that
out
would be
to the
on that
streets
list, you lose the
and make 'em
leverage on
admit
them, and you also
You're gonna sit back and let people in the suits
risk
tell you what's
them
up?
telling
Good luck.
the rest of the story.
It's just terrible.
Good luck.
So you run out of the essential nutrients your body needs, then something breaks. So you go to the only medicine that your insurance pays for, which is allopathic MD-directed medicine. The doctors don't know anything about medical nutrition. They don't believe that the body can cure itself, so they give you a drug that manages the problem. The drug, in its working in the human body, also burns through nutrients. So after 6 months or a year, the drug stops working, or they need to increase its potency, or they need to give you a second or a third drug, and then you get worse, and then you need another drug, and then it gets worse, and then you need surgery, and then you get a secondary infection from the surgery, and then you need another drug for that, and then you die. And then your relatives are so grief-stricken that they organize a 5K run on your behalf to come up with a cure for stomach cancer. And who do they give the money to? The people that failed you in the first place. So you run out of the...
That's the system.
Now this is scary.
Russia got that cancer though for your cancer. Good Russia.
Stick around because there's footage. It's a theory that space is fake and no humans can actually leave the atmosphere. In the clip I'm about to show, a plane actually hits the firmament and crashes. Watch the clip.
I don't think a plane would get that high though. Like an airplane doesn't get that high.
Trust me. Watch this.
This is exactly why I don't watch sports. There's a reason why the Romans used to say that if you want to keep people distracted, you simply give them bread and circuses. And it is because they knew that if people were fed and entertained, then they wouldn't question anything and they wouldn't think for themselves. And you see, modern day sports is the exact same thing. People yell at TVs, they memorize stats, they argue over other players, and they even wear another man's last name on their back to vicariously live through them.
See, that's why I don't watch sports, because it's an indoctrination. Is watching sports bad? No, but most people that watch sports worship their team, worship the players, and they know more about the football or the baseball or the basketball than they know about the Bible. How do you think God's going to hold you accountable for that when you go, well, I knew this player, I knew this player. Well, who were the 12 apostles? What did Jesus do in the Bible? Well, I don't know. I didn't learn that in church on Sunday. You have to have a relationship with God over everything.
Good
They
advice.
tell us the truth in plain sight.
Smile I've ever seen out of Mark Zuckerberg.
They always tell you the truth in plain sight.
So
Story's
the
right
song
there.
Shake It Off was about how I shed my skin every 1,000 years.
How the
And
rituals
song
work,
Bad
right?
Blood was about how I drink blood out of my Grammys.
A toast to blood. Save some blood for Paul Rudd.
Begins at the dawn of history. The birth of the very first society begat the need for the very first secret society. A fraction of early humans were born smarter than their fellow cavemen. And if they would not listen to reason,
There you go. That's exactly how it happens, you know? Just right there.
There you go. That's exactly how it happened. And thus the Order of the Black Robes was born. Operating from the shadows,
Hidden in plain sight.
we and our descendants
Yep.
kept watch over all of human history.
Well, not to point out the obvious, but fire, plague, accidents.
was doing some research on the New York City subway stations. And it's interesting because they said that the subway stations were founded in 1904 and they opened in 1905. So they were found, that's what founded means. They were found.
They were founded.
In 1904,
that's right.
And they opened 1 year later. They didn't build them. They just took ownership of these tunnels that are deep underneath New York City. And it's interesting because when you look at all of these tunnels, you sit there and think, okay, you go up above on the street, you got horse and wagon and all this stuff roaming around, but you're building these massive tunnels cutting through the earth. Take a perfect example. Go outside, get a shovel, and see how far you can go in the earth. Especially in a time around the 1900s where it's very challenging to do that. There's no construction photos. There's just like 4 people standing in front of a tunnel saying that we built it. You would think if you did the first subway ever that people are blown away that they could go in, you'd have photos galore. But you only have one photo of 4 people standing in front of a tunnel saying that you found or founded the tunnels of New York City. I was doing some research on the New York City subway stations, and it's
Did you know that if a policeman gives you a ticket, cop pulls you over and gives you a ticket, that is called a ticket in commerce. And so if you go to buy something and you don't have the money,
I guarantee if you try any of the stuff he's saying, you're going to jail. But listen, it's interesting.
I have to, right? Therefore, when the cop gives you a ticket, he signs it first. It's called a ticket in commerce. Because money is going to change hands. Therefore, when you sign it, you are the co-signer of the ticket in commerce. Well, as a co-signer, you don't have to pay the ticket. You were just a co-signer, and you can decide, I don't think I want to pay that ticket. And then you send the ticket and the paperwork to the Secretary of State, and they then give it to the Attorney General. The Attorney General then sends it back to the cop, and the cop has to pay the ticket because he's the one that signed it first. You were just a co-signer. But as long as you don't understand this, people don't understand the way
I guarantee
and commerce work.
You say, I'm not signing that ticket, you pay it,
it's all one big
you're going to jail.
And if you're not licensed to play in the show, like George Carlin used to say, it's a big club.
And then you're resisting arrest.
The truth is hidden.
Don't do that.
Why don't we just say a bunch of things that we know that they'll never cover? Okay, ready, go. Trump Jr. didn't have any silverware in his house. No one thought that was weird? Are we still rolling? Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia put money into Disney, so just know there won't be any girl characters in the next Cars movie. Are we still rolling? This is wild. Okay, why have so many presidents' chefs died? Weird. Boy Scout of America, they renamed itself Scouting America. You know who else changed their name? Sean Combs. Just saying. Let's learn something in 2025. I can't believe you guys.
Gentlemen, a demonstration. This is what those kids think they're hearing on those headsets. And this is what they're really hearing.
Conform. Free will is overrated. Jump on the bandwagon.
Hey, that voice. I know that voice.
It's Mr. Movie Phone.
Yes.
He does all our subliminal tracks.
There is no such place as Area 51.
Excellent work, Fiona. These kids will never know what hit them.
That's so funny.
Gentlemen.
They used to meet in secret to discuss their mathematical discoveries. Only members were allowed to attend. They had a secret emblem.
Right there, hidden in plain sight. Right there in a children's cartoon.
Let's see what the topic is for today. It was our old friend Pythagoras who discovered that the pentagram was full of mathemagic. The two shorter lines combined exactly equal the third. And this line shows the magic proportions of the famous golden section. The second and third lines exactly equal the fourth. Once again we have the golden section. But this is only the beginning. Hidden within the pentagram is a secret for creating a golden rectangle.
which the Greeks admired for its beautiful proportions and magic qualities. The star contains the golden rectangle many times over.
Just skip ahead and see what
Used to
it's
be
about.
secret to discuss their method.
So this is mind-blowing. A 7th grader spent her summer building a presidential family tree, and she discovered that every single United States president,
Yeah, I've seen
with
this.
the exception of one, were all related. And
It was
all
pretty
of
interesting,
them,
though.
every single one of them are descendants of one single person.
You
the
don't know
former
it.
King of England,
Now you do.
John Lackland, who signed the Magna Carta in 1215. Nobody had put this together before because most genealogists only focused on the male side of the family. But she went ahead and put together the male and female lineage of every single president and discovered that every one of them are related, except for Martin Van Buren. This is something that definitely makes you look at the big picture a little bit differently. Check this out.
George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, William Howard Taft, and President Barack Obama. One young girl traced them all back to one common ancestor.
They're all cousins and all grandsons of John Lackland.
It's the first family tree of its kind, pouring through more than 500,000 names for months. 12-year-old Bridge Ann d'Avignon discovered that all the U.S. presidents, except Martin Van Buren, are related to the former King of England, John Lackland Plantagenet.
Mildred Reed is his first great-grandmother on George Washington. Obama.
That's pretty cool.
July 8, 1979, all the fathers of Nobel Prize winners were rounded up by United Nations military units, all right? And actually forced at gunpoint to give semen samples in little plastic jars, which are now stored below Rockefeller Center underneath the ice skating rink. Wouldn't want to be there for the thaw. Ugh. I mean, it's disgusting. You know what they put in the water, don't you? Fluoride. Yeah, fluoride. On the pretext that it strengthens your teeth. That's ridiculous. You know what this stuff does to you? It actually weakens your will. Takes away the capacity for free and creative thought and makes you a slave to the state. So you ever wonder about all these militia groups, survivalist type kooks from the right-wing side? They say
It's true.
In the country from the UN troops. These guys are yelling so loud. My theory is, and this is a conspiracy, pal, that they are the UN troops and that they're in place. The infrastructure's ready. It's just a fait accompli. When the time comes, they'll just take over and we'll all be toast. Oswald, yeah, Oswald. That's what I said, Oswald. He said, I'm just a patsy, and that means that he didn't do it, right? I mean, George Bush knew what he was saying when he said New World Order. Remember those three little words, New World Order? Well, he was a 33rd degree Mason, you know, and
This is probably one of those hidden in plain sight movies where they just throw it right out in plain sight. So the initiated just have to watch a certain set of movies and they get their information.
I mean, it's only a small logical step.
The initiated now, uninitiated,
and then before we know it,
yeah, they call it a conspiracy theory.
oh sure, yeah. Hey,
That's a psyop. It's not a conspiracy theory when it's true facts.
Child of Fred Mertz and Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, get rid of him as soon as you can, lady. Look at it up to the light. You see the metal strip in it? That's a tracking device. If you got any more of those at home, get rid of them. Exchange them for goods or something. Because they'll follow you. They know where every one of those hundreds is going.
During the fire, they were using TNT and cannons to put out the fire. And they said that it was because they disrupted the water lines.
Put out the fire with TNT.
So they needed to use TNT. And you sit there and think, who on earth would use TNT to put out a fire? You know, it doesn't make any sense. Unless you wanted to get rid of a lot of the things. And when you look at a lot of the pictures of the aftermath of San Francisco and that whole situation that occurred, you see that buildings have all holes blown in them. Almost kind of like all the events we always see across the realm after an event happens. Certain things are burnt and gone, certain things are not. And all of those buildings, when you look at them, or the architecture, they all look exactly identical.
Right.
So then you sit there and think, okay, so somebody was building the same up in Canada. They were
Right.
building the same in San Francisco. This is like where it gets crazy. You see the same domes that are in San Francisco, or the same domes that you see in Chicago. So then you sit there and think, okay, so somebody traveled all the way across, moved all the granite, assembled all of this. And San Francisco was a big one because San Francisco looked like something out of, a movie for how beautiful it actually was. During the fire, they were using TNT.
That's crazy.
At first, Caligula seemed like the perfect emperor, but he soon revealed what true madness looked like. In the dead of night, he would send guards to wake the senators and bring them before him. Terrified for their lives, they came expecting execution. Instead, the emperor would appear dressed as the goddess Aphrodite, silently perform a dance in front of them,
I've seen this
and
one
then send them
before.
home
This guy's
without
really
a
weird.
word. His next act was even stranger. He appointed his horse, Incitatus, as consul. The animal received a marble stable, a golden chain, personal servants, and an ivory dining table. The senators remained silent and applauded. On one occasion, Caligula assembled an army to invade Britain. But when the weather turned rough and the sea became choppy, he changed his plans and turned his fury toward the ocean. He ordered the legions to wage war on the sea, to slash at the waves with swords, hurl spears into the surf, and collect seashells from the coast, which they later brought back to Rome as trophies of their victory over Neptune. Rome was horrified, but no one dared to object. It all lasted 4 years, until his own bodyguards, the Praetorians, killed him and ended the reign of the god on
That's how that
earth.
ended.
At first, Caligula seemed like the perfect emperor.
The 12 judgments God will use to judge us, exactly when they'll happen, and what happens if you fail them. Every single person watching this video will face the following 12 judgments. Both the living and the dead will stand trial.
Yes,
These
that's what I was
judgments
wondering
will
today.
take place from now until the end of time. In every judgment, we have the chance for...
Yeah, I saw that one. Alright. Yeah, I watched those. Check out my form.
Obama, at this point, it's clear that you don't care and you just want everyone to see who you truly are. So just recently, Barack Obama would go on a Zoom call where he would show his support to a group of State House Democrats who fled from Texas to Illinois. In the midst of him showing his support to these people, you can see a stone-like object in the background with some very weird symbols on it, specifically meaning boy lover. Y'all must remember that these people follow the laws of karmic retribution, meaning they have to show us what they're doing or they're going to face bad karma for it. And let's not forget back in 2020 when Obama would go on an interview with Kamala Harris and they would only speak in code. And when you really understand what these code words actually mean, it's truly sickening. I can't believe this man hasn't been incarcerated yet. I'm gonna pin the code words down below so y'all can make out what he's saying, and y'all let me know what y'all think down below in the comments.
Critical if we are to lead effectively.
Right.
So tell me about Joe and your relationship with Joe, and what do I need to know? Like, what's the thing about the ice cream? He loves ice cream. Tell me about that.
Well, listen, ice cream is big. Pasta with red sauce, he can go deep on that. He really does like those aviator glasses.
Obama, at this point, it's clear that you don't care and you just want everyone to...
The best place to hide is right in plain sight. This is Gigi Bryant, and this is her dad, Kobe Bryant, and they supposedly died back in 2020 in a helicopter crash. And coincidentally, the giveaway at Kobe's last ever home game just happened to be him as a helicopter. And also, coincidentally, a Cartoon Network episode of this show depicted Kobe in a helicopter crash. Now I'm about to show you some other coincidences, and you can make up your own mind. Coincidences like how Gigi has been depicted as an angel more than anyone I have ever researched who supposedly lost their life. Her as an angel. And well, this is famous WNBA star Angel Reese. And when she held the NBA trophy, she couldn't help but say, "It reminds me of Kobe." And Angel just happens to be super close with Kobe's ex-teammate and someone he referred to as Big Brother, Shaq. So close that Angel affectionately refers to Shaq as Uncle. The best place to hide.
So it turns out that the Nazis were probably actually right about this, and I have more proof than I did before that the moon is a reflection of the Earth, and it shows all of our continents up there and acts as a sort of map in the sky. And this is why the Germans in World War II were so interested in going to Antarctica, because they want to see what continents were past there. Because they heard Admiral Byrd say that when he flew over Antarctica, he saw a landmass as the size of America. So they wanted to go over there and check it out, and that's why there's so many German bases over in Antarctica. And this whole movement about this map has gone on for so long, and people have been researching it for so long, and they discovered that the sun takes a cycle of about 25,000 years. It goes around the entire moon, which is really just the Earth, and it warms up 1/4 of all the landmass that are frozen under the ice. And here's a more detailed view of that same moon map that you can see clearly that all these continents over here, that's ours. It's Africa, North America, Europe. They're all the same shape. And the reason why this region is all warm is because this is where the sun is. It's in this quarter of the moon map. But once you reach these other areas, it's all frozen because the sun doesn't even go over there. But if it did, all these places would be warmed up. And they were warmed up 25,000 years ago, and it's possible that's when the Lord of the Rings times were as well. And here's my extra proof compared to the last video I made. On May 3rd, 1964, a newspaper article was written about this because of all the research that had been going on post-World War II about what exactly the Germans had been doing in Antarctica. So it turns out that the Nazis...
If I were Superman, I'd do things a little differently. First of all, I'd be flying feet first. I'd rather bludgeon with my feet than throw punches, and it would be a more comfortable...
Rest in peace, the Pope, This is Ethan Go, the kid who was arrested and detained for over 6 weeks for flying over Antarctica. Now, Ethan was...
The moon map is a pretty good conspiracy. I like the moon map one.
Continents. And he was doing this for charitable reasons. He was trying to raise money for charity. And after he flew over Antarctica, he was arrested.
They could be in the Arctic continents
whatsoever. Now, what's interesting about
or
this
on the moon
is
base.
we have been telling you guys that you can't go independently explore Antarctica, or you'll be met with military, you'll be arrested like Ethan was, because they are hiding what's truly beyond.
Do not sleep tonight, fam, because the biggest moment of the year is about to unfold.
I want to sleep so good.
Oh my God! Yeah, this is all real, son. Never.
I was shocked that we got fish. I've never seen that in the 10 years I've worked in corrections. I've seen lots of different meals, but never fish.
You sure about that? 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 You sure?
That's it. It was the mark of the beast.
You sure about that?
The bloods are the 144,000. That's it.
AI is getting pretty good. Look at this stuff. Eventually you can get like a full movie with AI. Any kind of movie you want.
Can I have a hot dog with ketchup and sauerkraut, please?
Sauerkraut's 50 cents extra.
Damn! I have not had a hot dog in so long.
Come on, let's get out of here. Anything to drink with that? You son of a bitch!
Yes. Could I have a Pepsi, please?
Anything for you, sir? No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Greedy bastard.
Didn't you promise me ice cream the other day? I know a really good place uptown.
Man, you can't do any of this.
Great, let's hook it.
Yeah, $20-some.
So you have a movie for me? Yes, sir, I do.
16 right here. This phenomenon right here that happened 2 days ago was Jesus and New Jerusalem, I believe.
That's
now,
Man, that's a cloud.
12 miles of secret documents under the Vatican? That's insane! What the hell are they hiding?
12 miles underground, guarded tighter than Area 51.
Maybe they just really like books?
Yeah, over 4,000 books are locked away, many banned since the 1500s. In 2010, even Harvard scholars were denied access. Ask yourself why.
What kind of books?
Lost Gospels.
The old Disney movie called Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. The way that the movie's portrayed, it's such an innocent little movie. It's a fun movie where, like, real people go to cartoon land. And it's fun adventure with Angela Lansbury. Like, Murder, She Wrote chick is in this. It's all centers around this witchcraft book called, like, I think it's something about, like, the Book of Astaroth.
Astaroth. Right?
Yeah, and you're like, that is a false deity from the Bible. Like, you can look this one up. Like, that's in there. And eventually, I guess, they lose the sigil of Astaroth. It's literally a pentagram. And they're trying to track this thing down so they can get back to real life or whatever. And you're like, why, if this is a fun movie for kids, why would they ever invoke the name of a real satanic Mesopotamian deity?
Yeah, right?
Maybe because Walt Disney was a weirdo?
Right?
Are you ready?
Right now, there are 131 active deep underground military bases in the United States. Each one has an average cost of $17 to $19 billion. My colleague, Al Bielek, has actually been on some of the high-speed railways, magneto-leviton trains that connect all the deep underground military bases within the United States.
That'd be pretty cool to work there.
Train floats off of a single
underground
rail,
base,
3/4 of an inch off the rail, and what you call high tech. We have nothing like this on the surface. The public basically has been totally lied to. We're considered stupid or even moronic in some cases. They must tell us the truth. If they cannot do this, then they must be impeached.
Oh, God.
You guys down to trade?
Oh, all day?
Oh, yeah.
What you got?
Stop.
Macaulay Culkin looks worse than I thought.
Bro, you don't understand. None of the gaming community gets it.
This is the Motherland Call statue in Russia. Allegedly, it was built between 1963 and 1967 to memorialize or remember the fallen Russian soldiers in the Battle of Stalingrad in World War II. Now,
that was a giant.
Who built this, or they built it in 1963. I think this statue is a remnant of the Tartarian civilization that they don't teach about in the history books. They hide that history, and they don't want you to know because it has implications that would shake a lot of people. So look at this statue. This right here is an Attack on Titan size statue. Look at this lady. And this is constructed out of concrete. She's holding a sword, which is metal, but this is concrete. According to the fake information on Wikipedia, the way they built this was they created a metal cast from scratch, the same shape and size of the statue, and they poured concrete into the cast to make this perfect statue back in 1963. Okay, that's cap, guys. That's cap. And they're saying that this statue is 290 feet tall, from the base of her feet to the tip of the sword. And if you look at these people next to this statue, you can tell this is bigger than a football field. A football field is about 360 feet, roughly. Look at the size of this lady. Do you really think they built that in 1963?
They say the United States government mastered time travel over 50 years ago.
Look at those people down there. Can you see those people? They're trying to tell us that that is the size of a football field. Look at those specks, those people down there. Just look at that lady's arm. That looks like a real arm. You mean to tell me they made a metal cast and poured concrete into it to create that arm? Look at that hand. Look at those fingers. This is a Tartarian statue. And who knows who this lady really was in the Tartarian civilization? Who knows who this lady is or what she represents for real? They had to explain away why this statue was here, and the World War II Battle of Stalingrad was a perfect reason for that. This is fake history. This is not real. They did not build that in 1963. All right? And of course, they have construction photos. So if you notice in this construction photo, the statue is already built. The sword is already in place. And all they're doing is putting scaffolding around the complete project.
Fake news, right?
To sell the lie in the history books. Because they have to explain why this huge, out-of-place, Greek-looking Attack on Titan statue is here. So they have to create the history around it. All right? They lie about it. And remember, the Photoshop is very powerful. It's a very powerful tool. They can add and subtract anything they want. Another construction photo where the guy's he's just climbing on it, and there's another dude over here under it, just hanging on, acting like they're building stuff. They're not building jack squat. They're not building nothing. This one is just for scale. Look at that dude. Look how small that dude is on that lady. Okay? That's a Titan. That's a Titan. Why they need to build it that big? Look at the magnificence of this. Look at the creases and the folds in this lady's gown thing. Look at it. It's blowing in the wind. There's no way they built that in 1963. And I know people are like, oh, well, they built skyscrapers and stuff. A lot of those skyscrapers in New York and some of these cities are Tartarian skyscrapers. People think that those construction photos are real. It's just dudes hanging out.
Just like this, they're founded.
A lot of these buildings around and statues and stuff.
It's all found. Found.
You need to look up Tartaria. And any construction bros, drop down in the comments and let me know if I'm tripping. If I'm tripping, I'm tripping. But to me, this doesn't look like they...
Give me one reason why we shouldn't countersue for abusive process filing a frivolous...
They're making them really thin now. It's amazing how they can, like, come up with, like...
Gonna try this at home.
Fuck? Where the fuck am I? Whoa, what the fuck have I done, guys? How the fuck did I get back out? Shit. I need to get fucking back out right now. Why is it not working? Come on. What the fuck, guys? Am I asleep? What the fuck's going on? That fucking did it, I think. What the fucking scary, what the fuck? Do not try this at home, guys.
Okay, I promise this is not what it looks like. This is actually one of the greatest animated films you probably haven't seen. This is day 3 of sharing some of the weirdest, most obscure, and downright traumatic animated films from the 1980s. And today's film is easily one of the most visually striking films I have ever seen. This is Marcel Yankovic's The Son of the White Mare. 3 dragons rise from the underworld, destroy a kingdom, and drag its heroes into the darkness. But there is hope. Somewhere in the wilderness, a white mare gives birth to a boy with the strength of a god. When he learns what's happened to the kingdom, he sets off on a journey into the underworld to rescue his brothers and to pull a fallen kingdom back from the brink. I know that just sounds like a typical hero's journey, but I promise this film is unlike anything else you will ever see. The art style is just so bold.
I don't know, it sounds like a typical hero's journey though.
Films like this anymore. And one of my
So this guy's about to steal $18 million, and he just might get away with it. Now the guy's name is Alan, and Alan, he's around 28 years old when this story starts, living in Los Angeles, and bro works at an armor depot. So he's surrounded by cash all day, moving in and out of the building. Here's the thing about Alan working around all this cash. He's the kind of guy who really wants to be rich. So it's only a matter of time before he wants to take some of this cash. And that is exactly what happens. One day in 1997, he comes up with an idea. Why not just rob his employer? And so he gets to work on this plan. He starts doing reconnaissance. He's like studying the building's floor plans. He's getting familiar with all the security camera locations. He's figuring out how to get into the vault. He even allegedly brings a camera to work and starts taking pictures, pretending like, oh, I'm just like taking some photos of my work colleagues, when in reality, he's taking pictures of the layout. But all that recon is not enough to pull off a heist this big. Alan knows that he can't do this alone, so he recruits 5 of his friends to go along with him. And this operation is so ragtag, so low budget, he literally meets up with these 5 friends in a parking lot and he draws a diagram of the whole facility on the pavement using street chalk. Like, you guys enter through this door and I'll enter through this door. It's crazy. But whatever. Now the plan is all coming together. And they set an official date that this is all gonna go down. In the meantime, Alan is still working at this job at the Armored Depot. And he's getting up and he's going to work every day and he's just acting normal, trying not to make anyone suspicious. But as the date gets closer to heist
I wonder if
day,
he robs the whole
something
place.
unexpected happens. One day, boom, he gets fired. Allegedly, he was playing a prank on his coworker and like messing with some of his work vehicle or something. I'm not really sure if that's true. Regardless, he gets fired. Now, this screws his whole robbery plan all.
What scares me so much more about AI is...
Pretty sure it was all cat.
I want to know how long they've been manipulating the world with AI due to the fact of they didn't just come out the blue with this shit. One thing I have realized about the military, government, you know, those type of people is they don't give anything to the public unless they've had it for a long time and they're done using it. And I am not saying our history is fake, but I can definitely tell you that these people are lying about a lot that they're not telling us. But
what are we to do with AI?
Get on the ground!
Are you looking for someone?
The law of forgiveness. The law of forgiveness simply says that you are mentally healthy to the degree to which you can freely forgive and forget grievances against you. Is the single most important determinant of whether or not you are a fully integrated, fully functioning adult human being. Because the tendency to blame and to hold grudges is a childlike, pathological tendency that is possessed by all people who are mentally ill. Now, you accept that as true. There's 4 people that you have to forgive. Number 1 is forgive your parents. Most of our research shows that almost all of our adult problems trace back to being unwilling or unable to forgive our parents for something that they did that hurt us. Number 2 is forgive others. Forgive everyone else. Forgive everyone who has ever hurt you in any way for anything. Just let it go. Now, some people say, well, I can't forgive that person because what a terrible thing they did to me. Remember this, that forgiveness is perfectly selfish. Forgiveness has nothing whatever to do with the other person. It has only to do with your peace of mind and with your assuring your own mental integrity. Number 3, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for every wicked, senseless, brainless, foolish, stupid thing you ever did. Because every single person has done wicked, senseless, brainless, foolish, ridiculous things. But forgive yourself 100%. The last part of this is if you have done something to hurt someone else, go and apologize. It's amazing how many lives are ruined year after year by people who...
Would you like
good information.
Would you be willing to trade the outfit you're wearing for my mystery outfit?
This right here is just one of the tactics that NASA uses to deceive humanity. They'll use green screen characters to help float their objects and all this stuff. This lady is a former astronaut. Her name is Karen Nyber, and she shows you how they, you know, fake all of this stuff. Believing NASA in 2025 is the exact same thing as believing all of your politicians that steal your money. Like believing Big Pharma, because they're all connected. They're all just one big entity. All about deception and control. No one has ever landed on the moon. No one has ever gone to space because we cannot go to space. Space is fake. And the real truth to everything is found within. Peace and love. This right here is just one of the tactics that NASA uses.
Wait, did you know Marvel slips in details?
As far as it goes, on video, keeping the video.
It's probably cat.
Do you see that? Oh my God.
I don't know.
Let me give you a quick example about the maritime law, the law of water, the law of the sea. Money is water by law. This is why all ships are female. By law, all ships, rocket ship, sailing ship, it doesn't matter. If it's a ship, it's female. Because the captain always refers to his ship as she.
Right.
She's a good ship, or she's done this. Why she? Because she delivers the product. Without she, there is no product.
It's a vessel. It's a
Of course it is a vessel. So is your body. It's a vessel that produces a product.
Right.
When the ship pulls into harbor, it stops, and where it parks is called its berth. It's berthing a ship, or she sits in her berth. And every item on that ship, coming out that ship, is money. It's money changing hands.
Right.
It came in on water. So every piece has to have what is called a certificate of manifest, because she is sitting in her berth. That's why when you were born, your mother's water broke. You were inside a container of water. Her water broke and you came out, and therefore you have to have a birth certificate. And it's got to be signed by the dock, because that's where the ship is sitting. The dock is where the ship sits. So once you begin to see how the words and terms are all based on maritime admiralty, the law of water, the cash flow, the liquid asset, it goes all the way back to the English or British domination of the seas.
The truth is hidden in plain sight, and this is how they hide everything. If you are looking for...
That's right, they hide that truth in plain sight.
You know, this is how my needs though.
Dude, you got a secret harem?
No. This is a 210-year-old Bible, and you're going to see how it speaks
210
about the tales of dragons, something that has been littered throughout all of our ancient cultures, and we find them in these old texts. This is from the book of Apocrypha, if I'm saying that correctly, guys.
So down here it says, and in the same place there was a great dragon, which they of Babylon worshipped. And the king said unto Daniel, wilt thou also say that this is of brass? Lo, he liveth, he eateth and drinketh. Thou canst not say that he is not living God, therefore worship him. Then said Daniel unto the king, I will worship the Lord my God, for he is the living God. But give me leave, O king, and I shall slay this dragon without sword or staff. The king said, I give thee leave. Then Daniel took pitch and fat and hair, and did seethe them together, and made lumps thereof. This he put in the dragon's mouth, and so the dragon burst in sunder. And Daniel said, Lo, these are the gods ye worship. When they of Babylon heard that, they took great indignation, and conspired against the king, saying, the king is become a Jew, and he hath destroyed Bel. He hath slain the dragon, and put the priests to death. So they came to the king and said, deliver us Daniel, or we will destroy thee in thine house.
Now, don't you find it a little bit strange, guys, that the Chinese zodiac, it consists of all...
So you can Google Daniel slayed a dragon in the Bible.
There's one mystical creature in here that has been spoken about throughout religious text, the Bible, as you just saw, throughout all of our ancient cultures, depictions of these creatures. This was discovered during a renovation of a cathedral in Naples. This is quite literally how they cover up our real history, guys. This was the painting behind this painting. You can see the dragon. There also has been many sightings of these mystical creatures found all over the world. Now, whether you think these are real or not is beyond the point. Sheer fact that the tales of dragons were littered throughout all of our ancient cultures, they were etched into stone, is beyond our comprehension. There is much more going on than meets the eye. And there's a big reason why they have suppressed these mystical creatures. Many people believe that dragons evolved spiritually to the point that they needed to leave this realm because of all the negative frequencies that were going on here with 5G and Wi-Fi and all of that stuff. Others believe that these beings were petrified and turned into stone. Maybe perhaps both of these things could be true. But what do you guys think? Do you think that dragons used to exist? Do you think that the Bible was correct, that our ancestors were correct, that perhaps they didn't...
I'm gonna look more into that one. David slayed a dragon in a 210-year-old
part of our
Bible.
history? Let me know what you think in the comments down.
What they do is they
Chat GPT
their
that
original
one.
name used to be
power. So what they do is they change their name so that they can blend in with the system. And the Canaanites who...
This is a 210-year-old Bible, and you're going to see how it's...
What they do is they change their name.
Yeah, I'm gonna search that right here.
So what they do is they change their name so that they can blend in with the system. And the Canaanites, who had the curse for 2,000 years, they would also change their names for 2,000 years. And we know who those people are. Well, let me give you a quote by the Rothschild. If I own the money system, I don't care who writes the laws. So every single money, you know, across the world, owned by the Rothschilds. All the banks, Rothschild. Every single Rothschild. Medical system, agricultural system, educational system, energy system, Rothschild. So how do the Rothschilds influence the world? Well, they own everything. And that's when you get into the book Secrets of the Federal Reserve by Eustace Mullen. And what the Rothschilds did was, after they owned a lot of the things in Europe, they actually moved to America by paying the Rockefellers so that the Rockefellers could then control America. So when you date it back, you're dating it back to the Rothschilds. Now, if you want to date it back even farther, you go to the Oppenheimer. If you want to date it back even farther after the Oppenheimer, you go to the Canaanites. The Canaanites.
What the fuck happened to Billy Joe?
Congratulations! You've been chosen as the next hole keeper. Please, follow these tips to survive through your first shift. Tip 1. Always keep the light in your room on, and never go without a flashlight. It's not about the light, it's about keeping them away.
This is terrifying.
Tip 2. If you see a person, don't approach them, and try not to stare. These are the previous hole keepers. They don't like being stared at, and can be very aggressive. Tip 3. At night, you may hear voices coming from the hole. Don't answer them, and don't approach the hole, even if they call you by name. Tip 4. If you hear scratching behind the door, close your eyes and back away slowly. Don't forget to always lock the doors. Tip 5. After 1 a.m., don't look at the ceiling. They are too shy and may attack you. Tip 6. If you ever want to end your shift, that is never gonna happen.
This is probably the weirdest crime I've ever heard of. And it all starts with...
We finna slide to Maxwell, grab a hot...
What was in the water in Antarctica?
Look, you gotta realize when they uncovered Lake Vostok back in 2012, right? It hadn't been exposed for roughly 15 million years. They assumed that because there were no observable life forms on land, that the same would apply for the water, but they'd realized that was a tragic misjudgment on the final day of drilling when they removed the last ice cap that was covering the water. And so, as the crew all stood there, right, arrogantly surrounding this water hole,
they probably found some like Antarctic creatures
and got ready to lift it, they began feeling these kind of rumbling sensations underneath the ground, right? And the arm operator kind of looks at the... While this massive 40-foot tall, white-toned kraken just glides across the ice like it was on skates, reaching out a tentacle at a time and sweeping each of those men off their feet.
It looks like a police car. It says police on the back.
You'll never eat Oreos again after this? Dang, that's crazy. Dang, you really got a blowtorch on the Oreos. They ain't burning. Wow. I wonder what they're made out of.
Is you eating
heat? Woo!
Cook that shit up.
On fire like a smoked Oreo? A little smoke, little smoke situation? It's kind of like some s'more. Ooh, this one burning good. Woo! That one going through it, ain't it? Oreos in hell.
Yeah. You be on
I'm
fire.
That one. Okay, little Oreo, you ain't giving up. You ain't no plump. Woo! You go ahead. Dang! Wild! This thing is on fire. Still standing, still strong.
So, you have the new Back to the Future.
You survived another week. Which drink are you choosing? Winter Forged Lager, brewed beneath the glacier with midnight hops.
I swallowed 10 expired burgers.
25,000 on eBay. Thank you. Fellas, good catch.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
This is what they really like. I respect talented people.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
If your whole account
That's
is
crazy. The thanks president for the hat.
Switzerland are quietly preparing for the end of the world. They've been hustling for decades. You wouldn't know it by just looking at them, but underneath around 60% of the Swiss Alps, they've built a city of doomsday bunkers that can protect hundreds of thousands of people in a catastrophic event. In fact, Switzerland is the only country in the world that can house their entire population, 8.7 million people, in a secure bunker. And they're not just old, forgotten World War II structures slowly crumbling away. They are continuously updated and restocked with supplies till this day. You see, Switzerland decided they needed
That's
to,
where you need to live.
lock in after Germany promised to not invade them during World War II. They not only transformed the peaceful Swiss Alps into an absolute fortress and rigged it with enough explosives to collapse entire mountainsides, but the Swiss government also made it a law for homes, schools, hospitals, and other public buildings to install protective shelters, and that policy remains till this day, meaning the entire country is designed in a way that wherever you go, whether it's a restaurant, a park, or a friend's house, there's always a doomsday bunker nearby. According to official figures, Switzerland currently has around 300,000 bunkers across the country, which can accommodate roughly 9.3 million people. That's over 500,000 more than the country's current population. And once
Oh, so you think radar works on a spinning ball? Well, Globies, you thought wrong. Radars don't work, navigation doesn't work, compasses don't work on a spinning ball. You've been lied to, and that's why you're a slave. Peace and love. Oh, so you think radar works?
I used to go.
Y'all ever think there's secret societies that know?
I locked myself in the cell, then threw the key out right away. My colleague found me staring at the window. He told me not to do anything stupid, but I still said those words I shouldn't have said. I want to go out. But no one who said those words ever survived. Turns out, humans in the future world live 1,500 meters underground. There's a special rule here. Anyone who says the words "go out" gets forced to the surface. Everyone who went to the surface before died from the toxins in the outside world. But I said those forbidden words without hesitation because of my wife's mysterious death 3 years ago. That day, my wife shouted in the cafeteria, "The outside world is actually full of birds and flowers." The ruins everyone sees on the screen were images deliberately altered by the leaders. The purpose was to imprison people here, but seeing no one reacted at all, she shouted those forbidden words.
I want to go out!
So, as the sheriff, I had to personally send her to the surface world. The bunker residents watched through live broadcast as Allie went outside. She wiped the bunker's camera with wool. She excitedly thought the outside world was livable, but she collapsed after just 2 steps. People's hopes were crushed once again. However, only I knew my wife told me before leaving. If the outside world was livable, she would turn back to wipe the camera. So her death must have another reason. To find out the truth, I also said I wanted to go out. So the mayor put me in a protective suit and sent me out. I walked up the long stairs to the surface world, but when the bunker door opened, I was deeply shocked by the outside world. The surface world was really like my wife said. Even birds were flying in the sky. I desperately wanted the people in the bunker to know the truth, so I ran back to the bunker camera with all my might, wiped the dust off with wool. However, on the bunker's big screen, they showed the opposite scene. What people saw was me also in that wasteland. As I walked step by step toward my wife's body, I also felt dizzy. I suspected the real toxins might be hidden inside my protective suit, so I took off my helmet. But my physical condition was already very poor. Soon I collapsed next to my wife. The hope of surviving outside was crushed once again, and only one woman realized my taking off the helmet before dying must have had a reason. I locked myself in the cell, then threw the key out right away. My colleague found me staring at the window. He told me not to.
That's like a pretty good one.
But I still said those.
I'd watch that.
Dear bad.
What the hell is...
Animated movies in the 1980s were absolutely insane. So every day this week I'm going to be talking about some of the weirdest, most obscure, and downright traumatic animated films from the decade. And I thought I'd start off with a film that's haunted me ever since I first watched it in high school. This is Jimmy Murakami's When the Wind Blows. The film follows an elderly couple living in the English countryside. They survived the Blitz, and they've lived through war before. So when Jim and Hilda hear there's been a nuclear strike, they do what they've always done. Follow instructions, keep calm, and wait for the all clear. But this isn't the 1940s, and this time, help isn't coming. So the first time I watched this film was in a high school history class, and the main thing that stuck with me for all this time is the haunting juxtaposition between the film's storybook visuals and the absolutely horrific chronicle of nuclear fallout. There's this really strange kind of horror in watching people calmly prepare for the end of the world, and doing it all wrong. But the sad thing is, it's not because they're reckless. It's because they have far too much trust. Jim and Hilda trust the newspaper, the pamphlet, the voice on the radio. They trust that following the rules means they'll be safe. But that was never the case.
What if the entire reason is because it's supposed to restart Mars? By now, I'm pretty sure you've heard about 3i Atlas and its potential hostile alien invasion. So ridiculous. I'm gonna go out on an extremely short limb and tell you it's not a hostile alien invasion. I will let you know it definitely is aliens and a spaceship on its way here. But the only reason anyone is saying it's hostile is because that invokes fear, and fear allows you to be controlled. Like me, nobody's gonna control you, right? How do you know it's a spaceship, and who's your source? Where are you getting this information? Well, if you have to ask me who my source is, then you don't know anything about source. It's just a comet, bro. Nothing's gonna happen. It's not real. It's obviously a distraction because of blue jelly beam. First off, if you're aware of blue jelly beam, then you should know it's not real. What is real is the only planet it's actually going to come close to is Mars.
Yep.
And if you follow Emily at Divine Magic and you watch when she channels the conversations between her and the Galactic Federation, then you'll realize that they're actually on the way to help. Here's where my brain tingles, because this year, Mars is in a transformative year. And like I said, the closest planet it will get to is Mars. Correct me if I'm wrong, but good luck with that. Most scientists, researchers, and astronomers will all agree that anything that's on a comet, asteroid, or interstellar object has the known properties to start life.
I guess he couldn't see that well.
If you've seen my previous video, you know that this is leaked footage of Apollo 11 faking the image of the Earth through their window. And other Apollo missions had been known to do this same thing. This is astronaut Edgar Mitchell. It says here Apollo 11, but he was actually on Apollo 14. And he's currently being shown this footage by Bart Sibrel, and he has quite the reaction. So he starts by saying, you know, probably reflections, but then he sees the lights go up, and this is his reaction.
Turn off the camera. Your interview is done. I'm giving you all the time I'm going to give you.
Understand.
Please get your ass out of my house.
Lying about going to the moon is a satanic lie of gigantic proportions.
I don't hit people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you get
I'm heading out. I appreciate it.
And get the hell out of my house. You'll get a computer, madam, before they get out of the office?
We have a video camera running if you want to do it. Want to call the CIA? Have them whacked?
This is astronaut John Young, and he was on Apollo 10 and 16.
For what day? Really?
Yeah, they said it was the same way that you did it on Apollo 10. To swear to God,
stick it in your ear.
If you walked on the moon, we're given the opportunity to swear to God that you walked on the moon.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to get the hell knocked out of you if you don't leave me alone.
And this is, of course, astronaut Buzz Aldrin, who was in the footage himself from Apollo 11.
Turn the camera off, please. Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. Why don't you talk to the administrator at NASA? We're passengers. We're guys going on a flight.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
Denzel Washington reporting from a fire.
Yeah, so this is what
I am selling
I wanted to save my son, but then the truck's gas tank suddenly fell. The force of the impact sent it straight toward my daughter's direction. She didn't have time to move and lost her life. At my daughter's funeral, I was heartbroken. My wife couldn't accept
that's tragic.
the death of our daughter.
Fuck.
After the funeral, she took my son and went to my parents' house. I was left alone at home, nostalgic for the happier times we had. Then, out of nowhere, I remembered what our neighbor told me. He said that if you bury a dying animal in that cemetery, it will miraculously come back to life. To see if it was true, I buried our dead cat in that cemetery, and to my surprise, the next day, the kitten came back to life. I suddenly had a bold idea. What if I bury my daughter there? Maybe she'll come back too. So, at dusk, I dug her up carefully and
that's a
gently
good
buried
spin
her
on
in
Pet
that
Cemetery.
Then I went back home and placed her clothes on the bed. But just as I did that, I heard a noise outside. I immediately ran to see what was going on. The front door somehow opened by itself. Inside the house, there were a series of little footprints covered in dirt. I followed the tracks to the basement. I thought my daughter had returned, but instead, I found an animal mask. I felt so disappointed, but at that moment, I suddenly heard my daughter's voice from behind. She really came back, but when I was giving her a bath, I was horrified to realize her hair was so stiff that I couldn't even brush it. I carefully pulled her hair aside, and then even stranger things started happening.
This is
Gross.
one of the creepiest films you'll ever
That can't
see,
be real.
but it's actually a story I'm pretty
Some
sure
gross
we've all
shit.
seen before. Let me explain. Over the years, there's been a ton of adaptations of Beauty and the Beast. There's the Jean Cocteau version from 1946, and of course, there's the Disney version from 1991. But the 1978 version from Uri Hertz really stands out amongst the rest, because it's just so bizarre. Most versions of Beauty and the Beast try to soften the story. They make it about love or forgiveness or learning to see someone's inner beauty, but this one doesn't do that. Instead, it really leans into how creepy the story actually is. The isolation, the power imbalance, and the fact that a young girl is essentially given away to a monster. The Beast in this version of the story isn't some prince waiting for redemption. He's a monster, driven by this dangerous compulsion for something pure and innocent. But Julie's desires are equally as intoxicating. She's drawn to the mystery of it all, and compelled by the thrill of touching what's forbidden. Their desires spiral around each other, towards a place where their longing can never be satisfied. And I think that's why I love this adaptation so much, because it's just so different from anything else we've seen from this story. It takes the tale as old as time and twists it into this intense gothic love story. So if you loved Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, then you should definitely check this one out too.
Last year, my parents lost all.
Most people have never heard the truth in your entire life. Jesus Christ was amazing, but he is fake today. He already finished his work. Christianity ended in the 1st century. Nothing in the Bible is written to us. None of it's to us. After he finished his work, he delivered everything back to the Father. We should worship God today and not judge one another for what we eat, drink, wear, who we sleep with, what we watch, what we listen to, because he ended sin, he ended Satan, he ended the grave. We see a light whenever we die. We can go straight into heaven whenever we die. But after he finished his work, the people that were left behind created this false Christianity. They literally were like, oh my God, Jesus was the Messiah. Couldn't wrap their heads around the fact that they were left behind and everything already happened. That stuff's not to us. Then wicked men took over his name, and they made this book. They made this Bible, and they destroyed the world through war, tyranny, and genocide. They said, if you don't accept this, you know what they said. Might not be allowed to say it on TikTok. So their kingdom is of this world. Their presidents swear on the Bible. Everybody will tell you there's a great deception in the world, but you know what the deception is? It's trying to get everybody to go back to Jesus, back to the old world, back to sin, back to the law, back before we had access to God, back before we could go to heaven. Right? It's getting everybody to go back there so we lose our salvation that Jesus Christ did. What the Bible actually said is Jesus Christ did a short work on the earth, delivered the kingdom back to the Father, and the Lord God omnipotent reigns, and God is all in all. Today we
Pretty good rabbit hole.
This is what the Starbucks logo would look like from behind. This is her tail, and it is spread wide open. Now, it's important for you to understand that this design was intentional and kind of creepy, as you'll see throughout this video. In order to understand why Starbucks chose such an odd image to represent the company, we need to go back to the beginning. It was 1971, and the founders, inspired by Moby Dick, chose the name Starbucks. With Seattle being a port city and their coffee coming in on ships, they wanted their brand to be related to the sea. Next on their list was to find a logo. This is what the Starbucks logo would look like.
How's this man talking to you? I don't know. I told him.
You will never die. You need to prepare for life after death. If you die with mental addictions to lust, food, and power, you will reincarnate. You need to detach from all worldly pleasures, which is why the Bible says, do not love this world nor the things it offers you. When you die, you go into the astral plane. This is the realm of imagination. This is where thought forms manifest into things. When you die with mental addictions to worldly things, you will be manifested as a demon in the lower astral planes. In the physical plane, you can cover this up, but in the astral, you will manifest whatever you think. The 7 deadly sins are 7 internal states that make you reincarnate after death. Society is molded so that you get addicted to materialism so that you reincarnate. The life and death cycle is manifested every single day, with day and night or even the winter. Everything dies in the winter and then is born again in the summer. This is a microcosm of life and death. Physical is phi cycle. Phi is the torus field. The torus field creates physical matter. It's the cycle of the torus field. And this is merely the surface. If I told you that your body, your thoughts, and even time itself are all part of a hidden system designed to keep your soul in a constant cycle, every religion, number, and symbol you have ever encountered is part of a larger map, one that does not point outward but inward. This book decodes and reveals the connections the system does not want you to see. It's called Book of Wisdom, and it's on sale now.
I got cancer and my girlfriend cheated on me at an art.
The cost of living, 1953. The average hourly wage in the United States was about $1.73. Gas was just 20 cents a gallon, and a weekend road trip cost only a few dollars. A brand new house cost around $17,400, while average monthly rent was about $85. A box of Cheerios cereal was 21 cents, a pound of coffee sold for 79 cents, and a gallon of vanilla ice cream was $1.29. A family-sized Swanson frozen turkey dinner cost $2.39, and a hamburger at the local diner was just 15 cents. At the corner drugstore, a milkshake was 25 cents, and a pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes was 23 cents. For many households, a full week of living expenses was often under $60. Teenagers crowded soda fountains for cherry cokes and jukebox tunes, while families proud.
You familiar with that face? I don't know. I remember.
AI.
Oh, you have a movie for me?
Yes, sir.
And so, you're gonna tell me what's in the bag.
This bag is made of plastic. Use it for as long as you like. However, when it...
Okay, so riddle me this. According to our fake science, the Earth moves 1.6 million miles per day through the void of absolute nothingness. So if that's the case, why did the constellations never change? Why do we have the same 12 or 13 constellations that we had back in the Dendera stones 5,000 years ago in ancient Egypt? If we're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting the sun at 66,000 miles per hour, and hurtling through space at millions of miles per hour, how do we see the same constellations all the time for our whole lives? Make that make sense. Peace and love. Okay, so riddle me this. According to our fake science, the Earth moves 1.6 million miles per...
Today is biblical. Let's go over the last day's news for August 21st, 2025. Mount Dukono in North Maluku, Indonesia erupted again on August 21st, marking its 5th eruption in 1 week. The ash plume reached approximately 700 meters above the summit amid continued seismic tremors. Authorities maintain a level 2 alert, warning and restricted access within a 4-kilometer radius. So let's go over the last days.
Is the rapture coming on September 23rd, 2025? Hi, I'm Josh Bryant, and I hope that within 3 minutes or less, I can on more, and they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, but not the second coming and not the rapture. God.
Go.
Well, we cannot know the exact timing of most Bible prophecies. We can know the general time frame of what is ahead. I'll give you 3 trends to watch for in
14 Mandela effects that make you doubt the past. Alexander Hamilton never served as the President of the United States. He was actually the first Secretary of the Treasury. Disney's Mickey Mouse character has a tail. Curious George has never had a tail. Some people remember different numbers of rings around the bullseye in the Target logo, but the one on the left is the correct one. The Berenstain Bears are actually called the Berenstain Bears.
What are some examples of the Mandela effect, but in movies? Probably the most famous example is the legend of the movie Shazam, a movie where Sinbad
Is the world secretly run by lizard people? According to one of the wildest conspiracy theories, shape-shifting reptilian beings control governments, corporations, and even entertainment.
We want to go to. We have free will, so evil's allowed to come and contend, not just good. And the elites themselves believe they're racing using human technology to try to take our best minds and build some type of breakaway civilization where they're going to merge with machines, transcend, and break away from the failed species that is man, which is kind of like a false transmission because they're thinking what they are is ugly and bad, projecting it onto themselves instead of believing, no, it's a human test about building us up. And so Google was set up 18, 19 years ago. I knew about this before it was declassified. I'm just saying I have good sources. That they wanted to build a giant artificial system. And Google believes that the first artificial intelligence will be a supercomputer based on the neuron activities of the hive mind of humanity with billions of people wired into it with the Internet of Things. And so all of our thoughts go into it, and we're actually building a computer that has real neurons in real time. We want to go to. We have free will, so evil's...
So if you haven't already, go look up Ashtar and the Galactic Federation. We have something called predictive programming, okay? They introduce these ideas into the public a long time before they're going to implicate it in order to slowly condition us into accepting the belief, all right? This isn't a new idea. It happens so slowly and so gradually, like, you don't realize it until you're like, oh, fuck. The frog in the boiling pot, okay? Same thing. It's funny, what has been mentioned is that all of this stuff is going down. Nobody's paying attention, nobody cares. Extraterrestrial beings making their presence known, okay? So go look up Ashtar, go look up the Galactic Federation, okay? And listen to the message that was on a broadcasting station in the UK. This message that Ashtar, the commander from the fucking Galactic Federation, comes and gives this speech. Tell me that everything that was said doesn't line up. And this goes back to the dimensions, okay? This goes back to space isn't what we think it is, okay? I'm telling you. I do believe in the extraterrestrials, but not as what we think. There are interdimensional beings, okay? So, I'm gonna go back to the male and female, okay? The fucking masculine and feminine. So, what happens? Okay, so we know about the Greys, right? They evidently cloned themselves too many times, so they fucked up their reproductive system, so now they have an alliance with the US, and they can essentially experiment on human beings, okay? So, as wild as that may sound, it's not, okay? Let's talk about the reptilians. So if you haven't already, go look up Ashtar and the Galactic Federation. We have something called predictive programming, okay? They introduce these ideas into the public a long time before they're going to implicate it in order to slowly condition us into accepting the belief, all right? This isn't a new idea. It happens so slowly and so gradually, like, you don't realize it until you're like, oh, fuck. The frog in the boiling pot, okay? Same thing. It's funny, what has been mentioned is that all of this stuff is going down. Nobody's paying attention, nobody cares. extraterrestrial beings making their presence known, okay? So go.
The agenda moves forward no matter who is in office. If you haven't learned that much by now, then you're not paying attention. You're about to be bombarded with a lot of strange public activity and disclosures about aliens, underwater UFOs, Space Force, Elon Musk, the Navy, etc. And those of you who are still thinking for themselves and aren't demoralized enough that they can't put things together should realize that this is all connected. Over the past few years, I've been teaching you about this same propaganda in my own videos. But I recently came across the best documentary I've seen that takes the same information, dovetails with my own research, and presents it wonderfully. So if any of you still give a damn about your own mental freedom and sovereignty and how you're about to get played, you need to go watch this.
The foundations for a new world order was established by leading scientific managers of the decaying 19th century British Empire. These leading social engineers recognized that in order to save their collapsing system of world empire, it was necessary to sabotage the emergence of cooperating independent nation-states then springing to life across the globe. To do this, a new, more sophisticated science of control needed to be created in short order. As Thomas Huxley's X-Club was created to establish a control over the realm of science, extending laws of the jungle and survival of the fittest over the weakest onto the human domain, Huxley's protege, Herbert George Wells, went to work pioneering a new genre of entertainment dubbed science fiction. In this powerful new realm of warfare that acted upon the imagination of a vast target audience, ideas pertaining to the nature of reality, technology, and most importantly, the future, could be infused into the collective imagination. Disciples of Wells not only oversaw this new age of secret science projects, but additionally advanced Wells's vision for a new science of control outlined in non-fiction books such as The Open Conspiracy, The New World Order, and The World Brain. The practical application of these ideas took the form of the science of cybernetics developed during World War II and became the instrument of control by a small managerial elite in positions of bureaucratic influence across Western governments in the post-war age. The protocols of Project Sign and Grudge were amplified by the much larger British government inquiry dubbed the 1950 Flying Saucer Working Party, overseen by Sir Henry Tizard, following the orders of Lord Louis Mountbatten. Lord Mountbatten was among the most powerful administrators of the British Empire, having been Supreme Allied Commander of Southeast Asia during World War II, First Sea Lord of the British Navy, and Governor-General and Viceroy of India, where he undermined the dream of Indian independence by carving up the nation into warring factions. Lord Mountbatten's devotion to the cause of world empire and the replacement of sovereign nation-states with a centralized world government under British control reflected the same cause as that outlined by H.G. Wells much earlier. From 1952 to 1961, Mountbatten advanced this agenda as NATO commander of the Allied forces of the Mediterranean and chairman of NATO's military committee, where he directly oversaw the growth of dozens of coups and assassinations of nationalist leaders resistant to the New World Order. It is with these facts in mind that it becomes interesting to note that Lord Mountbatten was among the earliest and highest profile promoters of UFOs, having advanced the story that a flying saucer had landed on his property in Romsey, Hampshire in 1955. Long before it was popular to speak publicly about ETs, Mountbatten mused about the arrival of aliens to Earth, saying,
"If they really come over in a big way, that might settle the capitalist-communist war. If the human race wishes to survive, they must band together."
Mountbatten's words were an echo of British Foreign Secretary Anthony Eden's March 1947 statement.
Sometimes I think the people of this distracted planet will never really get together until they find someone in Mars to get mad against.
As we shall come to see, the idea of uniting humanity around a common threat driven by aliens from another world, as well as the nuclear bomb developed by Wells's followers, was a recurring theme throughout the Cold War. Just as the British Empire's leading scientist, Sir Henry Tizard, oversaw the Manhattan Project during the 1940 Tizard Commission to Washington, And just as the same Sir Henry Tizard oversaw the largest government inquiry into UFOs with his 1950 Flying Saucer Working Party, we shouldn't be surprised to again find Sir Tizard hard at work here too as the initiator of MKUltra.
Namely a meeting on June 1st, 1951 at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Montreal, Canada, between Tizard, Amon Salant, chairman of Defense Research and Development Canada, and representatives of the CIA to discuss brainwashing.
This Ritz-Carlton meeting on brainwashing would lay the seeds for MKUltra, which innovated new uses for and with the intention of breaking down a human mind into a blank slate through depatterning in order to then reconstruct those broken minds from scratch. It is here again that we find Henry Luce as pioneer of MKUltra propaganda, with his Life magazine being the first major press agency to promote the notion that psychedelic were a gateway to a new spiritual liberation. This was accomplished through the 1957 publication of J.P. Morgan Vice President R. Gordon Wasson's article, Seeking the Magic, documenting the banker's CIA-sponsored 1955 hallucinogenic pilgrimage to Mexico. Wasson's highly publicized report in Life magazine and nationwide speaking tour to hundreds of universities served as a guidebook for millions of young beatniks and hippies who would follow his footsteps into their own induced initiation ceremonies in the coming decades. These countless young admirers of Wasson would learn to shed their outdated beliefs in nationalism, family traditions, morality, and God in favor of a radically new, sexualized-based spirituality. Apparently, the only people over 30 whom the burgeoning New Age movement were expected to trust were those old people giving away free. One of those early disciples of Wasson was a man named Terence McKenna, who throughout the 1980s and 1990s did the most to promote through his Green Earth Foundation, which found vast patronage from none other than Lawrence Rockefeller. McKenna distinguished himself by not only promoting but also added his own thesis that benevolent aliens communicate to humanity via these mind. Apparently, get is all that humanity's elites need to do in order to communicate with advanced ETs in other dimensions, who have been kind enough to give us those technologies needed to build pyramids, Taj Mahals, or even modern science itself. The unification of extraterrestrial communication and psychoactive became a normal component of the New Age cosmology and played a role in Lawrence Rockefeller's creation of the Disclosure Project in 1992, employing a former military physician named Stephen Greer as its spokesman. Over the coming years, the Disclosure Project served as an umbrella organization tying together hundreds of UFO truth groups under a unified control as the Soviet Union collapsed, winning the support of key figures within the new Clinton White House, including both Bill and Hillary Clinton, as well as John Podesta. It was while following Lawrence Rockefeller's initiative that Bill Clinton released thousands of classified UFO documents to the public in 1993, and it was also during this time that Hillary began visiting Lawrence's ranch. John Podesta made his UFO coming out party widely known in 2002 and has continued to devote himself to UFO disclosure for the next 22 years. The irony that a J.P. Morgan vice president, a Rockefeller family patriarch, and a fascist media mogul would become patrons of the counterculture was lost on many. Many people have come to believe that the culture of the 1960s happened despite the CIA or Wall Street tycoons. But the facts show that it was the CIA and military intelligence that developed those which users have come to see as their spiritual liberation. Additionally, by promoting as a key to mental health, personal liberation, and even religious experiences, Henry Luce and Gordon Wasson were acting entirely as agents of the CIA and MKUltra.
We figured wrong.
carry knowledge. I'm here to enlighten your world and expose the Alliance. Back off! Please, I am of a peaceful race.
Yeah, aren't we all? What do you want?
To convey knowledge to Carl McGavin.
Why?
He is a trusted voice to your planet, which now stands at a crossroads. We must guide you down the correct path.
I think you'd be amazed at what we humans can accomplish on our own.
Really? An end to war, famine, poverty? Formulas to provide limitless energy. We can provide your world with that knowledge.
What could you know about our world?
We have visited here in the past. I was once known as Prometheus, the fire giver, among others. And we watch you from the skies through our cloaked satellites.
You know our secrets then?
I do. And I know yours, Nicholas Logan.
What do you mean? My father? Agent Logan, you are to cease interrogation of this prisoner.
Things are not as they seem with the Alliance. Understand, they must be exposed.
Please, I have to know. What happened to my father? Who took him? Enough, Logan. The Tribune had answers I wanted, and information the world needed.
The Alliance controls what the world needs, Agent Logan.
And what gives us the right?
Let's say the Tribune presents us with unlimited energy. Then the oil companies collapse, the whole industry gone, millions unemployed, world financial collapse, anarchy, chaos.
We'd recover. Humanity is resilient.
Information like that must be controlled, Logan. Slowly released. We're walking a tightrope, and humanity doesn't need the Tribune to knock us off.
I had the right to find out what he knew about my father.
That crusade of yours has interfered with your duty for the last time. Got it? True Blood, continue.
We took the alien into custody, but were forced to initiate the contingency plan when 2 civilians intervened. The Tribune disabled the helijet and attacked the civilian Carl McGavin. It was not an attack. He was...
And there's absolutely nothing up underneath this monolithic slab that, if I had to estimate, would be well over 100 tons. Absolutely nothing holding it up.
Finance! And next we have...
You can call me schizophrenic.
The reptilian elite theory suggests that shape-shifting reptilian aliens control Earth by manipulating human leaders. According to David Icke, a prominent figure in this conspiracy, these reptilians are interdimensional beings that have infiltrated the highest ranks of government, media, and finance. They supposedly use their power to enslave humanity and perpetuate chaos, all while hiding their true reptilian identities. Proponents argue that the physical attributes of some leaders, such as unusual eye movements or a cold demeanor, are evidence of their reptilian nature. This theory draws on ancient mythologies, linking the reptilians to serpent gods worshipped in various cultures, implying a long-standing extraterrestrial influence on humanity. Skeptics criticize this theory as purely speculative, pointing to a lack of tangible evidence and the psychological need for scapegoats in times of crisis. However, the allure of the reptilian elite continues to thrive, fueled by distrust in political systems and the craving for hidden truths. Exploring this theory reveals much about societal fears and the lengths people will go to understand the complexities of power and control. The reptilian elite theory suggests that shape-shifting reptilian aliens control Earth by manipulating human leaders. According to David Icke, a prominent figure in this conspiracy, these reptilians are interdimensional beings that have infiltrated the highest ranks of government, media, and finance. They supposedly use their power to enslave humanity and perpetuate chaos, all while hiding their true reptilian identities. Proponents argue that the physical attributes of some leaders, such as unusual eye movements or a cold demeanor, are evidence of their reptilian nature. This theory draws on ancient mythologies, linking the reptilians to serpent gods worshipped in various cultures.
Have you ever heard of
Nivel Omega es el secreto supremo, el plan donde religión.
This video explains how you're being controlled and what their plan is.
Hello, Earth. I'm Alec Baldwin.
TV star. You know, they say TV will rot your brain. That's absurd. TV only softens the brain, like a ripe banana. To take it all the way, we've created Hulu. Hulu beams TV directly to your portable computing devices, giving you more of the cerebral gelatinizing shows you want, anytime, anywhere, for free.
I only act out because I want you alone. Get away!
Mushy mush. And the best part is there's nothing you can do to stop it. I mean, what are you going to do, turn off your TV and your computer? Once your brains are reduced to a cottage cheese like mush, we'll scoop them out with a melon bowler and gobble them right on up. Oops. I think I'm drooling a little. Because we're aliens. And that's how we roll. Hulu, an evil plot to destroy the world.
This video explains how you're being controlled and what their plan is.
Hello, Earth. I'm Alec Baldwin, TV star. You know, they say TV will rot your brain.